Hello, everybody out there in Twitch land. It is 10:30. It is Thursday. No, it's not. It's Tuesday. I have my Fantasy Ground shirt on, so that must mean we're going to be prepping for Dungeons and Dragons using Fantasy Grounds. So today we're going to be setting up some encounters and making an enclave of druids. So it should be interesting. I've never done anything like this before, so it'll be fun. So I was in the middle of finishing up a map. Um, Everything I'm doing is homebrew with help. So I call it homebrew with help because I'm using the Sword Coast setting, and I'm using pull in a little one shot here, or a little encounter, pre-made encounter there, um, every once in a while. But for the most part, everything I'm doing is homebrew. So I've taken the Sword Coast map is huge, and I've taken a small section of it, and that's where most of my stuff has been happening. And so I've added a couple locations, um, manually using a free version. It's called PIXLR, pixlr.com. It's really pretty cool if you can afford Photoshop. It does a lot of the same things, probably maybe even more. There's two versions of it, Pixlr E and Pixlr X. They're both free. One of them is a little bit easier to use and doesn't have as many bells and whistles. And then the other one is more complex, so if you're looking to do more things. Anyway, so I'm just in the middle of saving this file. So, and then we'll open it up and we'll take a look at it. And you'll be able to see a little bit more where my party is and what's going on. So there we go, Fantasy Grounds. So if you don't know where to save your files for Fantasy Grounds, you can add your own pictures, you can add your own maps, things like that. Uh, what you do is when you get ready to open Fantasy Grounds and you first run the program, you have that first screen. There's a little folder icon. If you click on that folder, it'll open up in your computer where all the Fantasy Grounds files is. Because if you just click on like search for your computer, it's very hard to find. Most people, including myself, can't find it. But if you click on that folder, you'll then see the link as to exactly where it is. So you can then highlight that and then pin it in your quick access. And that way you can then just open up. Once you go into that folder, it'll say Fantasy Grounds, and it'll have campaigns. And double click campaigns, and all the campaigns you've made are there. And then double click on the name of the campaign that you made, and then I'll say images, and that's where we want to save mine. All right, so then you save it within that images folder, and now there we go. So now when I go into my images, type in the name of the thing I just saved, which is Sword Coast Close. Interesting. Okay. I guess it didn't overwrite it because I had stuff on there. So this means the P means it's public, means I've shared it with the group. If you click that, it then unshares it with the group. Um, I'm actually going to open up the folder. And by the way, the thing I mentioned earlier, you can do as well here. Click on folder, and you can see where. Just highlight, double click in the address bar there, and it'll give you exactly where it is. So I'm going to go down to SC. All right, so it looks like I did the wrong one. Give me just a moment here, guys. Luckily, I was smart enough to not completely close out the program I used, the website. And by the way, that Pixlr X, it's pixlr.com. It's a web-based program, so it doesn't know how to download anything. You just are able to use it. So save this again. All right, try this again. There we go. So here's my map. I just added Meadow Nest, which is a airy. What happened was I have this in the islands to the west of Baldur's Gate and Candlekeep. There's some islands, so I had that be the home of most of the Aarakocra in my world, and some sort of natural disaster happened there, and so they had to flee that island. So at one point, as the group of adventurers were coming out of a cave, hundreds of Aarakocra flew over their head and then headed south toward the city that they usually live in. Um, and so that was just one of the many hooks that I had left out there. Had they wanted to, they could have pursued that and found out what was going on. They could travel out to that island and see what caused this disaster. Um, but they didn't, and they haven't yet. Um, so we'll see if they ever do. So here you can see on this map, and let me give you a quick idea. What is the difference between these two? Give me just a second to see what the difference is. So I'm resizing it to see if maybe it's the oh, okay, so this one is the actual from the book that has the pins in it. That's the difference. And it goes, this is just something that was grabbed. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. I'm going to go down to Sword Coast. All right, one last thing I have to worry about. So you can see this is the actual Sword Coast map from the book, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. This is the entirety of my map. So it's a lot smaller, a lot zoomed in, and this area here Okay, why isn't it? Oh, it's open. There we go. I'm actually going to make this. All right, so this is the entirety of my map, but this map here is, let's zoom in. And it's right here. So this area here, from Baldur's Gate, Candlekeep, I've added the city of Nashkel here. That's where majority of my adventures come out of. And then there's this city, little village of Jaspermoon. They're on their way over here to the Grasslands Enclave of Druids. It's one of the Circle of Druids, the grass ones. There's the Meadow Nest, which is the area I was talking about. And they were at the Burlow Winery. So, and I had the Aarakocra um, up over here. So they were here in the Northlander Isles. Is this isle here is where they were living. Something destroyed it, so they flew south um, and then inland and settled here in the grasslands. So what I've done is I've given a lot of taking their backstories, built a couple adventures from that. Um, I've as different ideas have come up. Some of them I've somewhat railroaded them, um, and when I wanted to do a certain adventure, but for the most part, I've been trying to just let them do whatever they feel like doing, and that has good and bad points to it. So the good point is they have freedom. They have, if one of their characters wanted to pursue the life of a merchant, they could. If one of their characters um, wants to build a certain artifact or gather materials to make a special weapon, wanted to find what happened in their past, they can do all those things. Um, the bad news is because they have no direction, they have no direction. And so a lot of times they'll be okay. Now what do we do? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do we want to do? So, and as they sit around twiddling their thumbs trying to figure out what to do, it is not for lack of trying. So if I go to notes here, um, I have, let's see where I put it here. It is, give me just here, it might be on the table here. I had a list going on. Let me look down. So they've made, these are all notes that the characters have made. So you can see my characters are pretty much pretty into making their own notes and keeping notes, tracks of what's going on, keeping track of what's going on. I did away with this. Was this the one I wanted though? All right, so at some point I'm going to go through this and update my calendar because I use the calendar. So you can see this is when I really started to use it was um, for in-game calendar to track what they've been doing, and you can click on any day and it opens up the thing and you can see what they did on that day. Also, some of them have different birthdays or different things that are tracked. Um, So you can see I keep track of the time and the date. The time that they did all these things. There's also places for GM notes that the players can't see. So this allows the players access to those notes so they can read in what's been going on if they forgot. And it also helps me keep track of time as well. So, and you can push that anytime to the characters. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's not what I want. Okay. So we'll set it up as you can show them what time it is. Uh, and especially if somebody has keen mind where they always know what time it is, that's you can be very specific down to the minute. Um, this helps me keep track of travel time and how long they've been doing things and stuff. I was actually somewhat surprised because we've been playing for about a year and a half, 2 years when I started the calendar, and they in game had only been a month, less than a month actually at the time. So I was like, wow, a lot has happened. They went up to level 7 in less than a month game time. All right, it looks like my calendar's on the calendar. My camera frozen. There we go. Hello. I'm going to turn it off for a second and then turn it back on. There we go. It's a little bit better. I'm not sure why it's jumping around so much today. Let's see. Now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and close that one. Okay. So what I was looking for was the notes plot. There it is. I was looking for the word hook and I couldn't remember. So these are all the different things that I've come up with that they have not done anything with. So there's a thief running around Nashkel, and called the Gray Bear, and they've seen him twice. They've actually seen, so they've seen him. They've chased him down in the streets one time. The Gray Bear is actually a group of people who have this big symbol of a gray bear. They only ever go out at night, one at a time, um, and to create the mystique of this super thief. Um, so at one point, there's this mercenary group was hired to capture that. It was a band of people who had overheard rumors of this secret place uh, underground that would had a bunch of might have treasure and things. And so this group had come. They ran into the party, and the party killed a couple of them and drove the rest of them away. Well, um, they released two of them. This guy named Jazoon and Mano. Uh, they ran away. One of them was killed. All the other four ran away. Um, Mano is holding a very big grudge against them, so he hired a demon to attack them. So the demon has this just happened a few weeks ago, and it says Mano sent me to kill you. So they have no idea who this person is because they didn't find out what the name was. They just, this group attacked them. They drove them off. They ran away, and that was it. Uh, so that's going to come back to haunt. That's coming back to haunt them. There's a green dragon that they ran into. His name is Fraper, and I've talked to him twice now. Um, and both times they rolled exceedingly high. The bards did on their inner performance checks. So the green dragon keeps them alive, and they ran across him the first time when they were level 2. And this is an adult red dragon, a green dragon. So they had no chance of killing this thing. I was just I did this as a role-playing thing. He had just eaten. He was flying back to his home. He sees them. He lands, uh, and I was just winging it. Let's see what happens. They ended up doing a performance for him, and so he likes them, and he left. Now he's seen them twice, and so here Zenitra is one of my play characters. This talks about his background story. Um, they found they did a whole section in the area of the turtles, the turtle people, um, and they look like the Ninja Turtles. So they have these large shells that make up their back, and in the city that they're in, Nashkel, they found this woman who was selling turtle shells, which is sort of like skinning a human, or skinning somebody. So it's very, she was. I would just did that to see how they would react, because they know these things are intelligent. They know these are just it's another human. It's another race, and so I wanted to see if they were going to react. So that's another hook that's out there. They initially were like, "Oh, this is terrible. I can't believe they're doing this," um, and that's it. They haven't touched it. They haven't talked about it. I've reminded them a couple times about these hunters, um, but they didn't do anything about that. They came across this shield with Leviatris symbol, which is an evil god, and this group of people who were worshiping, working for a guy named Hegemon, and it was determined that he's trying to rebuild this city called Shale, and he needed this shield. He wanted the shield to help him do that. They took the shield, but again, they haven't tried to do any research on Hegemon or Sheol or anything else. They haven't pursued that clue at all. Um, and so those are just some of the ideas that they have access to. Um, these are different things that they want to do. Uh, their goals, I've asked them, what is your goal? What is your desire now? Um, so that's what they have to play with, and that's what they have to choose from and of course they can do anything they want. So right now, there was a druid in the party named Luthien, and she has a friend named Civis, and Civis is a devout worshiper of Sylvanas, the deity of nature. Luthien is not, but because they were close friends, um, Civis got captured. The group doesn't know what by, but because she's been captured and it looks like there was no hope for her, Sylvanas heard her prayers and caused Luthien to have these visions and in a dream of her friend being forced to shape change into an exotic creature, like a snow leopard in this one vision, and then she was skinned for the pelt, and she had another vision of her changing into similar to an owl bear, again being skinned for her pelt. So she was being forced to shape change. Um, then, so it disturbed her, and she was frustrated a little bit, but didn't really have any clues or anything to know what to do, how to pursue that type of thing. So she went to the Temple of Sylvanas, um, and just was told to travel with this other character who's a cleric of Sylvanas. Then in Nashkel, she saw a noble wearing what she thought was the exact pelt, this snow leopard pelt, as a cloak. So she talked to the noble, found out where she bought it from, and found out that this merchant can sell and get you any exotic pelt you want. You just have to ask, give him a couple weeks, and he can get it made for you. And she said the shop owner said that there's even a way, if you want to do faster, you can go make the arrangements to go to his house, his manor, and then he will have it there for you. Um, and she saw this map off to the side and found out where this guy lives, the merchant. So they were on their way to rescue Civis because they believe he's at the merchant's house. They get close, within a mile, within a couple, I mean, not a mile, but within 2 hours of it. And this bard meets them and says, the only thing down this road is this merchant's house. So you guys are going the wrong way. Just let me save you some time. And I said, no, and they ended up to where he sort of charms them, and one of the party members tells them they're looking for this girl. So he communes or communicates with this merchant who tells the party, I have no idea why you would think this person is with me, but let me do some research, and I'll make sure that your friend shows up within an hour. My take on this is this creature has been around for hundreds of years and is very powerful. And one of the reasons why he's so successful in what he does is he's cautious. This group of adventurers is coming toward his house. He knows he has a captive. He finds out that's who they want. So he'll just give up the captive. And hopefully they'll leave him alone. He can always find another druid later. If this is something that he wants to keep doing. So he'll probably just lay low for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, who knows, before he starts again. But he doesn't have to do this for the money. He's made quite a bit of money over the years. But it's just one of his many, many schemes he's got going on. And why mess with it? He's not arrogant. He doesn't want to destroy the group. He'll just give them what they want, and hopefully they'll leave him alone. So this girl shows up, and she doesn't remember the last 6 months. The party doesn't know if she's been gone doing this for 6 months or not. But that's how much her mind is been fogged. So the closest enclave is the Grasslands Enclave of Druids, Circle of Druids. So they leave, and the group is now heading south toward the Grasslands Enclave. I have nothing on the Grasslands Enclave. I have no, and so I really don't even know that much about Druid enclaves. I just know that there are different circles, and we decided to make them. One of the things that Luthien did, the player character, she went around to all the different enclaves of the areas. There's the Arctic, the coast, the mountains, the forest, the swamp, the desert, and the grasslands. And she's traveled to most of these enclaves, picking up wild shapes and learning about their different areas and things, spending time with them, learning from them. Grasslands is one she has not been to yet, and she was going to be learning the horse. how to shape change into a horse. Speaking of which is, I'm in the process of making a wild shape for her. Um, and I also need to see if there's a warhorse wild shape because she owns a warhorse. Has definitely studied it for more than an hour. So I need to see. Let's check before I forget. I'll make a note. Let me see what CR a warhorse is because she is almost level 9 and she can turn into as a druid of the moon. Oh yeah, she can definitely turn into a warhorse. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is just take the horse she can turn and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm going to add it to my note of D&D stuff to do, which is add warhorse. Wild shape. Okay. So I'm going to be heading down to the Grasslands Enclave. Right now, I'm opening up the tokens to add the party token because I don't have it anymore. I have 4 different alphabet tokens groups. I think that was the one I was using before. Yeah, I don't care for that one. A little boring. This one's science fiction. That one's more of a watery. So yeah, I was using one. So what I'm doing is I'm just marking on the map where the party is. You just hover over it and then hold control with the mouse wheel. You can shrink it. Right now they are way up here. So I added in the storyline. I wasn't expecting them to just leave with her. I honestly expected them to either ignore the bard, which they almost did, or take her and go to the house. I honestly wasn't sure how they would handle it. I had no idea. So this is just an idea I had. Again, this is not a written thing. It was just, if I'm this powerful thing, why would I want to risk fighting adventurers? I have nothing to gain from them except for maybe a handful of magic items that they might have, and it's just not worth it. And then if any of them live, then they may come back. If they were devout followers of anybody, family members might come after me. So it's just not worth it. Just give them what they want and move on. So that was my thought process, and they agreed, took her and left. So okay, so rescuing Civis is pretty much done. I think I can change the chapter now. I think I might just add. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple divisions in here. So this is the Merchant Perun. That's his name. So if you hit Control 2 anywhere within the text, it makes it a heading. And then I'm going to have Objective is found. So this is this is where we're at now. So any different encounters and things I'm going to add to here. So I made a couple on the fly encounters. All right, so I'm making sure these are here. House guests, under the house, Arcanium. Yep, so those are all here. So I need to find out where my the ones I made last week are. No, this is just it says random 12 pages of random encounters, really. Let's see. Okay, good. Uncategorized. To the Enclave. There we go. To the Enclave is what it's called. Alright, so this is what happens when you make a random encounter and don't do what you're supposed to with it. Here we go. I have a couple. There's the ones I was looking for. 1, 2. Okay, so this is the only one. Alright, so now I'm going to throw him where it should be now. So, and then we're going to put it up here. Top one is empty, so we'll just delete this. So I have a random encounter generator, and so it generated a couple invisible stalkers. They should not have any issues with them at all. It's only a CR9, and they are well able to handle a CR9 creature. I mean, encounter without even blinking. But instead of boosting it, I'm just gonna leave it. I did want to add a couple things. I don't have a map for this yet, so I need to add a map. So let's go to my images. All right, so because I have so many different maps to choose from, what is this? Oh, this is a close-up of the Sword Coast. Okay, nice. This is very strange. Why is it only showing me? Where are all my images? I don't understand what's going on here. None of these are in that list I was just looking at. That's so confusing. Anyway, so let's take a look and look through these real quick and see. They're in the middle of a plains. Might use this one. It's been a long time since I used it. think I'm just going to use either grasslands or the one I just had, the grassy, the encounter in the foothills. I don't want to have anything else that fits what where they're going. I'm just OCD. There's nothing wrong with reusing maps. I try not to. When you're dealing with just a random encounter, it's not really that important. I mean, I could just use a flat map and do whatever you wanted, but, oh, that's why. I'm a dork. Alright, so on the bottom I had sword. That's why nothing was showing up. Okay, so let's go with, foot. Okay, where was it? What was that called? It was called Cliffy Path. What is that one? So if you hold Control and left click and drag, changes the size of the map. And then right click, resize. I always do it horizontal. Okay, so that's what that is. It's just something I wanted. All right, let me see where. All right, so it was above. Was it Forest Trail? No, it was above the dirt lake edge. All right, so let me look again. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry about this. Coast. It was called Encounter in the Foothills. I was right. All right, so Encounter in the Foothills is not here. So let me go back up to all. There it is. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. Okay. All right, so this is a much wider map. I used hexes during that time. I love hexes. Much prefer hexes over the regular grid. But I am let's see, resize, horizontal. All right, so here we go. Okay, it wasn't that much bigger. So I don't want all these things, so I have a couple choices here. I'm going to use the same map, but I want it to be I don't want all these trees because I don't have all these trees. So instead of going into Photoshop and erasing the trees, which you can do, I'm going to change the size of the grid layers. Actually, no, I'm just going to go here to the toolkit, open up here, and make the grid smaller. Smaller, 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 much smaller. So the path they're on is going to be about 15 feet wide at the smallest spot. There we go. Turn on the mask mode, and all I'm going to expose then is the area without the trees. I will zoom in. to this section here. So this is the entire map that I'm going to be using. The only part of the map that I'm going to be using. Come on. Pave. There we go. All right, so this is the map we're using. So we're going to go ahead and finish up the encounter real quick. Let's go ahead, building the encounter rather. So we're going to throw them sort of in the middle. This is going to be all up close and personal. There's a light rain going on right now. Okay, so this is a large creature, and the hexes. Yeah, the hexes don't like large creatures as much. I'm going to actually make it a little smaller. I usually have them roll 8-sider to see what direction and how many squares their familiars are. So I'm just going to do that myself right now. We'll do the one on the left will be the wolf. All right, so the wolf is number 8, and they are both up to 12. All right, so first of all, if you open up the party sheet, excuse me, there's an order tab. Once you, as a dungeon master, drag the characters to this, you can then they can then manipulate where they want them to be. So this is the order that they travel in typically. So there's Tusk with Luthien next to him, and then Genesis with Kithri on her horse. Athena is the bird. Cromwell in the back. Okay. So the left is the wolf. So here's his master. So starting here with the 8-siders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it is 3 away. 1, 2, 3. So we'll do it there. Here is Kithri, who has the bird. He is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 away. So he happens to be right there. All right, this time I am going to use their mounts. So I have PC mounts. Kithri's pony is there. Okay, they should not be. Yeah, so we're making them all friendly. So Tusk's horse is dead. So for now, I'm going to put a note on here. Then when he purchases a new one, I don't have to go through all this again. Again, I have different symbols for each person. I did like it. All right, so we just click on here to change it to friendly. So we have Kithri's pony, Luthien's warhorse. not sure why it's not. Wait a minute. Let me see. Control, delete. Luthien Warhorse. It's odd. I don't know why it's not adding it as Luthien Warhorse with this token and everything. Let's see. Let's go into here. Go click. Ah, okay. That's why. All right, so real quick, I'll show you what's going on. So this is straight from the book, whatever book it's from. And so if we go into NPCs, here's Warhorse. One is the monster manual. All right, so the monster manual has the correct token and everything. All right, so what I did here is I made a copy of it. You can see there's no link here. And changed the name. So this is what I should have done with Luthien. So we're going to change the name to Luthien's Warhorse. Add him to the party, or to this encounter. And we're going to go ahead and change the token. Gotta unlock it first. There we go. This is the one that was there before. So we're going to delete him. So why did I go through all that trouble? Change him to friendly. Because now I can then add him right to, there we go, it's Luthien's Warhorse. Still not showing him as friendly, but that's just a simple click to fix that. All right, Cromwell's horse. So again, this is wrong. Genesis as her horse. All right, so the other players aren't here. All right, so now we just need to add them to the map. So Cromwell. So what I do personally is I go ahead and remove. So if you read mounted combat, the mount moves, and then the player can move. The player can then do their actions at the same time until they dismount. So what I do is I go ahead and remove. I'm just going to make the visibility invisible. So I'm just going to throw them down here. And put the horse representing who they are. Kithri and Genesis are on the horse together. Oh, wait a minute. Why? How? Hold on a second. I'm not sure why. Where'd the mounts go? Genesis, yeah, she has the wrong token. Alright, is this read only? It's not. Riding horse, Genesis, boink. So in the future that'll work, and then I'm just going to change it here. Whoa, why did it move over? Oh, okay, anyway. Okay, and then we'll zoom in a little bit more just because they don't need to see the rest of the map. Nothing's happening there. Tusk is on Luthion's Warhorse. So when they dismount from their horses, I'll just throw them on the map, pull them onto the map, make them visible. They're all right here. I don't have to worry about them. Luthien was on foot. And the other person is Civis. Where is Civis? Oh, I didn't add her to this. Okay, so I need to add Civis to the combat tracker and to the party sheet. So in order to do that, I am joining my own game as a player. So opening up a second instance of Fantasy Grounds. This is very convenient for a couple different reasons. Anytime you have a map and you want to know what you've exposed and what it looks like when in certain areas, especially if you're trying to be very specific. If you want to see what something comes across as, if you want to just do a little combat, things like that. This allows you to do all those different things as a player and a DM, not just as the DM. Most of those things you can do just as the DM, but this way you can now do it both. See the best of both worlds, basically, is how that works. And so while that's loading, let me do my. We're now coming up close to the end of my time. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Join me. I'm willing to be sidetracked. If you have questions on how to do particular things, let me know. I'll be happy to show you coding or how to incorporate different things in. Um, so I'm live on Tuesdays at 10:30 Pacific time. If you have ever heard of Starfinder, and if that's more of your interest, I do this same thing on Wednesdays at 10:30 Pacific time in the morning. And then we actually play Starfinder Sunday nights at 5:30 to 8 Pacific time. So come join us. And I mess around with Magic the Gathering Arena on Thursday afternoons from 2 to 3. So join me, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Spencer77. All right, so now I have my second one set up here. So all I need to do is come back to Macho. So add her. Come on. There we go. Getting rid of this for now. Come back to that in a minute. All right, so now add her to the combat tracker. So Civis is the druid they rescued. I'm gonna add her in. So she's actually on the pony. Yes, Doc Jonesy, welcome. Hello. Not just is it visible? Not just Rob's. Let me get rid of this one. But before I had Rob's stuff, I did a lot of it myself as well. So these are some of the extensions I'm using. Um, because, like I said, before I bought Rob's stuff, a lot of these extensions are ones I did myself. And a lot of them don't actually do anything. They're just to remind you. So for example, here, she has earplugs of the Boulé, tremor sense of 40 feet. That actually doesn't mechanically do anything during combat. It just reminds us, oh, hey, she's got this. Same thing with naturally stealthy, um, lucky, point, all of these. The only one that does anything is the very last one. So um, if you're interested in learning how to do those type of codings, um, if you're for just the reminder coding, it's actually pretty easy, and you can also save them as a spell, so that you can add them across multiple characters. So I hope that answers your questions. So I was just in the middle of finishing up this encounter. Does the adamantine armor effect for crit immunity function? I've done a little bit of coding, but there's so much out there. Yes. And actually, speaking of Rob Toohey and his coding and stuff, he did a little class. So I want to say a week ago. So if you look on YouTube and on Rob, the number 2E, uh, search for coding class. And like I said, it will be, I don't think it was in August. I think it was still in September. Um, and he goes through to just bare basics with a bunch of screenshots and some links to the different words, and when to use a colon, when to use a semicolon, what's capital, what's lowercase, examples of all those things. So it's a pretty cool coding class. Um, but getting back to your adamantine, um, no, it does. This one here, the immune to critical, it doesn't actually do that. There may be Kent McCullough did a lot of different. Um, Kent McCullough did a lot of different um, codings to make things like the lucky be automatic, sneak attack be automatic, things like that. So, and that one was actually gifted to me, so I have some of his. He may have stuff like that for adamantine, but for the most part, again, this is just a reminder. So I just had to remind myself as DM if he's ever hit with a critical. Plus the player too will remind me, oh hey, I'm immune to a critical. So the critical always hits still with the adamantine armor, just doesn't do the extra damage. Um, yep. Okay. And I'm actually almost done. Great to have you stopping by. I appreciate it. Um, join me tomorrow if you're interested in Starfinder. I'll be doing the same thing but with Starfinder. Join me next week, Tuesday. If you're, and like I said, I can go over more detail some of these codings. What I know, I'm by no means an expert, but I've messed around with it and played with it so much that um, I like to think I know what I'm doing. All right, so all we're doing is just adding this last horse, and I'll be done. Yeah, so I started an hour ago is when I started, so I'm running a little bit late. I try to keep it about an hour and 15 minutes or so. So let's see. So she's on the pony, which is a medium creature. So she would be close to Luthien since they're friends. So we'll stick her here. Yeah, so I have a couple invisible stalkers coming up on these. Hey, Manicuri. Hello, welcome, welcome. Yeah, Doc Jonesy was talking to me, asking me a couple questions. Now, Maticuri, Doc, if you're still here, Maticuri is the man when it comes to coding and stuff. He knows everything back and forward, and I come to go to him for a lot of questions. So, uh, so I have these invisible stalkers. Since she is the only one that's not mounted, they're going to attack her. So what I'm doing is, because the barbarian has an axe of warning, right as they go to attack her, his alarm goes off. So they're going to stop attacking for a second. And these invisible stalkers are intelligent. So what's going to happen is they're going to keep setting off the alarm. They're going to go to as if they're going to attack. His alarm's going to go off, and I'm hoping it'll get to where, after going off 10 times, um, the next time it goes off is when they're actually going to attack. I had something similar with these dark elves. I mean, the dark dwarves, the Dwerger. They can turn invisible, and so they went to go attack. His alarm went off, so they stopped, and they could hear them talking, like, "What's going on? Why is this going off?" But so that's the attempt, and then eventually, after like the sixth or seventh time of the alarm going off, they're actually going to attack. The invisible stalkers are. Um, and I have a nice little sound effect I use on my phone of a huge battle horn from like the Lord of the Rings. Woo. So I use that to go off, and then eventually I'm just going to have them attack. So that's what's going on, and they're going to be attacking the one who is not mounted, and we'll go from there. So I've got their character tokens all set up here. They're actually on their mounts, and then when they get off the mount, we'll go from there. Luckily, the invisible stalkers don't care about the mounts, so the mounts will pretty much are just there for flavor. The warhorse can attack, but again, they're invisible. So awesome! I picked up Rob's bundle from the DM's Guild, but I'm sure I'll have more stuff I run into in the future. Good to meet you, Maticuri. Nice. Maticuri, you responded and hang out in Rob's Discord pretty much all the time. Stop by and say hi. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, Discord is a good place to ask questions. Lots of very intelligent people there. I hang out there too sometimes. And the Rob's bundle has some really nice stuff in there. The biggest one I find I use more than anything else is the spell effects and the starting bundles. Those are just when you build a character, having to go through the class and the background and go through all the equipment and drag it. Having that starting bundle of Rob's is really nice. And the spell effects is really nice, having it all coded for you. Like I said, before I bought his stuff, I was doing all that stuff myself. And it is possible, but why spend the 15 minutes of coding spells and feats and things when they're already done for you? So good choice on if you're going to buy stuff. His coding ones are really good. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Off air, I'm just going to do some bookkeeping. I have proper nouns for the players that they can look at anytime they want to, because everything I'm doing is homebrew. They can look down and this shows people with links to pictures when they have pictures. Places, same thing, maps. And then I have my own proper noun that I have myself that the players can't see, which has more information or bad guys or different things that may or may not happen. So I just need to update these with some of the information that I put on there today. and we will be all set for our game on Wednesday night. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. I presume, Dr. Jonesy, it might be sexist to presume you're a man, but hey. um, Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you, like I said, I'll see you next week if you're around, Tuesday at 10:30. And you can catch a couple of my other, I've done this for the last several weeks. So if you, yeah, check us out. You'll be able to see us in person tonight if you want to. We start tonight at 5 Eastern, and um, it'll be on this. I host it, but it's actually Drake Takes, who's the DM, and he'll be streaming it. It's all one word, DrakeTakes, Drake Takes. Um, Matty Curie and I are players there. We're messing around in Call of the Deep. We're up to level 9 players running around, uh, messing with mind flayers and such. So stop by tonight if you're interested. And other than that, you guys, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day. If I can figure out